Friday. Welcome everyone to another Friday feature where we spotlight the industry's leading products and technologies. And today's feature presentation is all about AVA Remote, sleek, modern control solution that brings premium design and effortless functionality all together. And we're thrilled to have Robert Choate back with us. For those of you who participated in our virtual roadshow back in October, AVA kind of started the party off for us. They were our first live training of the event, and Robert is back with us to take you through the AVA Remote, the lineup, explore what makes the platform stand out, and give you the inside scoop of how you can elevate your customer's smart home experience. So this will be a quick hitting, fast, informative webinar. If you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A. We'll go ahead and get them answered for you. I have another poll we're going to set up for you guys if you don't mind answering. There's just 3 questions to help us gauge some interest and help us help you. So without further ado, Robert, thanks for being back with us, buddy. How you doing?
Absolutely. Fantastic. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, so we're going to go through the Cinema Remote a little bit, talk about this and what kind of advantages it has for you. If you haven't been in the location, you haven't picked one of these up, this is what we're talking about. They do come in silver and black. This is a solid aluminum alloy body, so it's one solid piece of aluminum. This is Gorilla Glass type of screens. There are 2 screens here. So you've got a extremely well-built piece of hardware that you're holding in your hand. And I have been in this industry for 25, going on 26 years now, working for AMX, RTI, Xantech, and Elan. So I've been around control my entire time. Before that, I was doing Pronto and Nevo SLs and all, just about everything I can get my hands on from a control perspective. And it's really interesting how control has evolved. But up until the AVA Cinema Remote, it really hasn't changed too much. You know, its hardware has changed a little bit. We've got an IP control added into the mix, but other than that, not a lot has changed. But the Cinema Remote definitely changes that. So you can purchase one of these remotes from 21st Century, and you can go out and install it with just this remote control. You don't need a piece of hardware. You don't need a computer with you. You don't need a tech that has to have advanced learning on a platform. You can spend an hour, a couple of hours with this, playing with it in your home or office, whatever it may be, setting it up, adding your devices into it, and get used to the functionality. You're really just learning how to navigate the interface. You're learning where things are, how to manage screens, how to do those types of things. But that's really the bulk of it. There's no heavy lifting when it comes to learning the Cinema Remote, which is one of the fantastic things about it. It is easy, but it's not simple, right? Everything needs some learning. Don't come in and grab one and go straight out to a job without ever trying to learn it. Spend a little time playing with it. Add your TV, add your Apple TV, get some IP devices online, understand how the system works, and then start going to town. And that's one of the coolest things. You can add devices very quickly. You do have to be on site to do that. We are using the IP addresses of the devices in the residence or commercial installation, wherever you're putting it. But when you set that up, you have that ability to add those devices right on the remote, and just a super cool feature set. This is my office. It's actually up and running right now. Sorry, I have a little glare there from Windows, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. And I've got Apple TVs. I've got some Lutron lights and shades. These are IP drivers that I'm using. So I've got Lutron Radio Raw 3 lighting. We also support HomeWorks when it comes to Lutron lighting, of course. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to push an Apple TV button. And what it's going to do is run a macro. So traditional macro-based programming, right? Turn on the Apple TV, turn on the TV, turn on an AVR if you have one, set volume if you need to. All those types of things can be configured. You can go in and manipulate the macros. So you can go in, we're going to build that for you based on you adding hardware. You add an Apple TV, some brand of AVR, and Sony, Samsung, whatever your favorite TV brand is, and we're going to build that macro around nothing but the inputs. You tell us what the inputs are, we'll configure the macros for you. You can always go in and modify those macros. So it's something you can go in and change. You can add to the macro if you want to add a lighting scene, for example, to that macro to drop the shades and turn off the lights whenever you hit Apple TV. That you can certainly do that. So you can modify your macros as much as you want, both power on and power off. That's one of the ways, by the way, Mark and Sean, you guys are on here. When you want to power off a Samsung TV and you want to go into art mode as opposed to off, you do that in the power off macro. So you can go into the Samsung power off macro and set that to go directly into art mode as opposed to turning off. So those things you can do very, very easily. One of the things that happened when I hit that button is you might have seen all of these buttons down at the bottom change. This is a dynamic keypad, meaning it changes based on the source that you're using. If you turn on a Roku device or a Kaleidoscape movie server or a cable box or whatever it may be, this is going to change based on that device. So you're always going to get just the buttons you need for the source that you're using, which has been in my 25 years of having experience with this and having other users pick up remotes in the house and use them. They never know what buttons work on the sources that they're on at that current time, right? When I go into Apple TV, does this guide button work? Well, no, there's no guide on Apple TV. But people don't know that inherently, right? I mean, we know it. We're in the industry. We know how most of this stuff works. But users kind of across the board just really don't. When you have a remote with a lot of buttons on it, you have no idea what functions work with that particular device. But we resolve that for you. So we program these buttons for you automatically whenever you add the piece of hardware. No matter what it is, we already know what it is. We build a keypad for you. And this, by the way, this is not just a screen. This is a clickable screen. I'm going to try to show it to you. It's kind of hard to show, but it actually clicks down. So it is tactile when you click the buttons. This raised ring, you can kind of see it there a little bit. It's raised. So when you put your finger on it, you can actually feel that circle. So you rest your finger there just like you would on a hard button remote that came with the TV, for example. So the up, down, left, right, menu, back. We always put the same functions in the same place, so it becomes muscle memory for your customers. Volume is always on this side, so it's very easy to learn and get used to using it. Whenever I want to change from Apple TV, for example, to something else, I simply slide up from the bottom, and now I'm back on the main home screen. Apple TV is still running. You might be able to see that up right around here. It says Apple TV up there. So I didn't close Apple TV by sliding up. I just moved it to the side so I can go do something else like launch Netflix, for example. So when I hit Netflix, that's actually launching the Netflix app on the TV. So we do support app launching for Apple TV, Roku, NVIDIA Shield, Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs. Direct app launching, meaning I can hit Hulu on my remote. It will turn on all my devices and launch the Hulu app right on the TV. Super, super cool feature to be able to do that. It's my wife's favorite feature by far. She walks in the living room, picks up the remote, hit Netflix. She's on Netflix. She doesn't have to navigate a menu. She doesn't have to learn how to navigate around the Apple TV or the Sony or the Samsung menus. She doesn't have to deal with any of that. I want to watch Netflix, hit a button that says Netflix. I want to watch HBO Max, hit a button that says HBO Max. So for your end users, that's just a massively powerful tool, just to be able to no navigation. You don't have to worry about all the menus on the TVs and the Apple TVs and the Rokus and all those things. So a very, very cool feature there to be able to do that. I'll slide back up from the bottom here. Again, still running at the top. If I want to power that off, there's a power button here. Let's see if I can hit that properly here from the back. I can't hit it. There we go. So I just turned it off that way. So simple to turn off. So now it's actually off. So my office just turned off. You can add as many rooms and as many devices as you want to this remote control. So this control system that I'm holding in my hand, you can add just whatever's in the house, whatever's in wherever you're installing, you can add as many devices on that network that you have. So TVs, AVRs, sources, whatever it may be, you can add all of those things in all of your rooms. I can control my whole house from what I'm holding in my hand. That's just a massively powerful tool to be able to easily set up and configure that. I'm going to turn off the heater in my office that just turned on. Sorry about that.
Hey, Robert, you mentioned in the beginning, it's simple but not easy. So you may be covering this, but did you want to go over the training links, the YouTube links, how they, because I know that's a way they could get trained. I guess, other ways that they could learn the setup as opposed to just getting the remote and learning on the fly.
Absolutely. So you should 100%, you can go out to our support page, support.ava.com, and we have all of our links out there as well as our software update information, what's included in all of our software updates, FAQs, support, all that stuff is on that page. But you can also go out to YouTube and type in AVA OS, two separate words, so AVA OS, and it's going to bring up a lot of stuff. It's going to bring up our videos. It's going to bring up third-party videos from dealers and people that have made videos. But you'll see our channel, and if you click on the AVA OS channel, you'll see all of our training videos. And we have about 22, 23 videos out there now. They're 5 minutes long, so they're very short, very to the point. How do I do X, whatever that X is, and we have a video about that. So you can go out and watch that video. You don't have to watch an hour-long video to learn one little piece of data that you need. That's what's so great about the separate videos. But the main one is the first setup video. It is literally out of box to a one-room setup in 5 or 6 minutes. Shows you everything you need to do to get through from picking up the remote from 21st and getting it set up in your home or office, wherever it may be the first time. Very smooth, very easy. You have to have a pro account. So that pro account you get when you purchase a product. If you already have a pro account, if you're a dealer with an account already, obviously you don't need another one. If you don't have an account, you have to sign up with us. So they have the links at 21st that they can give you to sign up for a pro account. This is required to configure the device. So you can't get in and program this without one. So that's what keeps end users and other people, if somebody got one somehow, they couldn't never program this because they don't have pro accounts. So this is a protected device. It is CI channel only. We don't sell these online. We don't sell them at retail. They're strictly sold through the channel. So the price is protected. So you don't have to worry about getting them, somebody getting them sideways or anything else. So you do need
about that too, Robert. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
All that, if you go to our website, go to the AVA vendor page, the training links and the registration, that's all on there. So just to make your lives easier, right on our vendor page, AVA vendor page on our website, 21stcenturydisc.com.
Yeah, fantastic. No, that's great. So the videos definitely help. And again, they're short, they're quick, so they can help you get up and running. When you compare learning an AVA control system versus control system A, B, C, D, whatever those are, your learning curve is super short. You don't have to spend a lot of time. If you've got guys working for you that you want to get brought up on AVA, it's not a heavy lift. They don't have to spend days and weeks learning a piece of software and all these types of things, right? They can really, really get into this platform quickly and learn the navigation, learn a little bit about it. A little knowledge is going to go a long way in our world. So you understand control in general, you can get through this remote very, very quickly as far as how it gets configured. So I've talked about the multiple rooms and the devices. You can do IP control, as I've said. You can also do IR, right out the remote control. This is line of sight IR, obviously. You will have IR devices that are in cabinets or in other rooms. We'll get to that in a second. So don't worry about that right now, but you can do line of sight IR directly from the remote. But we talked about the macro-based control, your traditional macro-based control, right? So we can certainly do that. But there's another superpower that you have here, and that is app-based control. So what do I mean by that? This is an Android device, so I can run apps from the Google Play Store. Any app from the Google Play Store you can download onto this device. That's my Doorbird front door right now. That's live video. If somebody walked by right now, you would see them walk by live. So if somebody walked up and rang the doorbell, you would actually see that notification pop up on the remote. You could tap it and open it up. Works the same way with Ring, right? So I just happen to have a Doorbird. You can hit that talk button and talk to the front door. So that is a super, super cool feature that nobody else is doing. So you can blend this traditional control world, macro-based control world, with native apps, all in the same interface. That's one of my interfaces. You can see I have lighting and shade. Those are IP drivers. Sonos in this world is actually an IP driver. Ecobee and Doorbird are apps, and they're just all blended on one screen. So it's more about, what do you want to do? What am I trying to do, right? Oh, I want to see who's at the door. I want to lower the lights. I want to watch Apple TV. It's all just blended into the same interface. You don't move to a particular page and go to a particular area to open an app. It's just right on that screen. You're watching TV and you want to lower the thermostat, hit Nest or hit Ecobee or whatever your thermostat is, as long as it has an app, and you can change the temperature. So super, super simple to be able to do that. And for a user, it keeps them off of these, right? Now, you don't have to go to your phone to answer the door, or maybe you have a Philips Hue lighting system and you want to do some color tweaking, right? You can do it right on the remote in your hand. There's an 8-core processor in this device. What does that mean? Well, if we look at, again, all the other brands out there that have black boxes that do all the work, they're all 4-core processors. So we have more processing power in my handheld controller than the other control systems have in their black box. And by the way, we don't need a black box for this. When I'm talking about you can come in and purchase the remote, this is the control system I'm holding in my hand. $649 dealer control system. That's an unbelievable value for what you're getting. You're getting an aluminum alloy body with Gorilla type of glass screens. So super, super solid, super robust, fast, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. When you're using this and navigating the screen and moving around, selecting things, you get a similar speed to what you have on your modern phone in your pocket, as opposed to these laggy screens, not very clear screens. You turn them sideways, they start blending the light and so forth. This is IPS glass. It's clear from every single angle. So you have something that feels more modern, akin to your phones that we have, as opposed to something that's 10, 15, 20 years old. Almost every remote I pick up feels that way. It feels like it should have came out in the 90s, right? It's like, this is not exactly current hardware feel to you, right? So that's what's so nice about this. You get something that's more relevant to today's technology. So when your customers are thinking, well, I've got a $1,200 phone in my pocket, why does my $1,000 remote feel like a toy versus my phone? Well, it doesn't in this world. You've got something that now feels very, very similar in hardware design and feel. This is all designed and engineered in Switzerland, by the way. All the software, all the hardware. Speaking of software, our remotes run AVA OS. So that's the software that's running on the remote itself. It is an app on the Android Google Play Store, meaning when we want to update AVA OS, we just push an app update down to it. So you never have to go out, plug into something, and start downloading firmware and software updates and all those things. Everything in that install is always going to be up to date, including the apps on the device, obviously. And that's never going to happen while you're holding it. It only happens when it's in the charger. The charger is heavy. It's got standard USB-C connection, and the remote just sits right down in it very easily. So just grab it, pick it up, take it, and start using it. It will only charge when it will only update when it's sitting in the charger. So you don't have to worry about a customer using a remote and they're listening to music on their Tidal app or something like that, and all of a sudden the Tidal app starts updating. That will never happen while they're holding it, only when it's sitting in the remote in the charger.
Robert, what's the expected battery life, for typical daily use, I guess?
Yeah, you get about 3 days. I mean, you got to think of it like you think of your phone a little bit, like you think of a tablet, because it's akin to that, right? It is an Android device, so you're going to get about 3 days. I mean, I'm the type of user with every remote I've ever had. I always put them back in the dock at nighttime. It's just how a lot of end users don't do that. Obviously, they leave them on the couch, they leave them wherever. Me being who I am, that's kind of the home for the remote, right? I always put it back there and set it back to where it is. But yeah, about 3 days is the remote itself will time out after 1 minute. So whenever you're using it, if you just set it down, the screen will go off, and the screen's what's using the battery. But the macros are short and quick and tight, so they don't really do much. It's more about the screen time that's really burning the battery. So when you set it down, the screen will automatically turn off. And if you leave it overnight and come back, you're going to lose about 10 to 15% of the battery. So it won't be dead the next morning, in other words. You can come in, pick it up, turn it on, start doing something else. So that's how the battery stays. It's a lithium-ion battery, so it has a really good charge to it. But you can extend that a little bit. And the way you can extend that is by using one of these. So what the heck is that thing? So this is a nano brain. So this is a device that you use when this accomplishes actually a few things. One of the things it does is it puts IR into other places. So this is a hardwired device. We have a PoE pigtail that hangs off of this. Lets you put it on a hardwired network. Now you've got a hardwired controller, because when you use this, the program no longer lives on the remote. The program now lives on this nano brain, meaning the remote's not doing anything but triggering the commands to come off of the brain. So that will extend the battery life a little bit more. So that's one of the things this nano brain will do, is we'll give you IR. We have IR emitters that come off of the brain that you can put in your rack. You can put it in a cabinet in the living room or in the bedroom, wherever. You can add as many of these as you want into a project. There's no limit to that. So if you have 5 rooms with Blu-ray players or something in those rooms that you need to get IR to, you could put 5 of these in the house. Now, you probably would never have that scenario, but you could do that if you absolutely had to do that. So that's one of the things this does. This lets the project live here. It sends out IR. But as of September, right after CEDIA, we added another super, super cool feature. And that feature is that it allows you to run apps on your phone. So now this is pulling from here. The project lives here. I just open up AVA on my phone and I get exactly what's on my remote. Same page, yeah. So that's exactly the same. Sorry for the glare. So they are identical at that point. I can go through and actually go into the settings right on my phone now and start doing configuration right on my phone. I don't have to use the remote now. So the people who like to use their computers, we have a Mac app, a Windows app, an iPad app, Android tablet, Android phone, iPhone, iPad. All of those things can be used to control AVA from a customer standpoint. From an installer standpoint, you can use it as a configuration tool. You do go in, of course, and lock this down when you're done configuring it. So you go into our installer settings and you go put your own PIN code into it and lock it down. So an end user can't get in and do all the things that I'm showing you. They can't get in and reconfigure something or change something. So I'm showing you an installer tool right now that you can get into settings, go in, change names of things, change icons, change the macros, all those things you can do. End users can't touch any of that. So, but the brain allows me to use my phone right now as a controller. So, which is a super cool way to do that. So now I'm sitting at my computer and I just want to pop open AVA real quick and lower the shades in my office. I can do that without picking up my remote, my phone, or anything else. I can just run it in the window right on my screen. Change music, all those types of things. Turn off the lights in the bedroom, just anything I wanted to do right from right in the screen that's in front of me. If you want to put an iPad with an iPort in the living room, you can do that, right? So that's our solution for a touch panel right now is to be able to use an Android panel or an iPad to be able to run the native app. All the apps for all of those devices are free. All you need to be able to enable that is one of these. You do have to have a remote in that system. You can't bring up a brain with a phone. You have to set up a brain with a remote control. Once you have it set up, then you can add phones and iPads and whatever else you want to add. So you can add all those other devices. But the remote is necessary for that, to bring it up and set it up. We do need a Google account. We recommend a Google account per install. So a unique Google account. So you shouldn't use your customer's account. You shouldn't use yours, certainly. So we recommend you set up a Gmail account for every customer that you install for. And you can go out and just, johnsonava@gmail.com. Just make up something, whatever makes sense to you. In that way, you control the password. If you ever use a customer's account and they change their password and all of a sudden other apps are going to update, nothing's going to get updated on the remote. So it's just, you could get email on the remote. You wouldn't want any of those kind of things. So you want to use your own Gmail account. You want to disable email and all those types of things. You certainly want to generate one Gmail account per household that you're installing for, not per remote, but per household for sure. There's some questions out there, Mark.
Yeah, I got a few. I mean, we went over the battery life before, and somebody asked is it possible to replace the battery?
It's not. It's a lithium ion. We have a 2-year warranty on all this stuff, but we have over 20,000 of these out in the field, and even the ones we sold 3 years ago, the way we manage our battery life is that when you have the remote sitting in the dock, if you actually stare at it and watch it, it'll go up to 100%, and then you'll see the charger icon change and no longer charge. So we do trickle charging. It'll drop down to about 85% and then start charging again up to 100%, stop charging. So in that way, we can extend the life of the battery. So we're just not grinding the battery with charging. So when you do that, you're going to kill a battery. You put an iPad in the wall. I've done that before where I've just put an adapter on it where it had charging all the time, like 5 years ago. Killed it, right? It was dead when I pulled it up the wall.
So Earl asked, is it best to keep programming at 8 seconds? What are the pros and cons charging from 8 seconds to 3 seconds? I don't know what you get, Earl. You're gonna have to elaborate on that for us.
We're talking about delays.
Maybe he's talking about delays. Earl, why don't you elaborate on that for us? We can go ahead and get it answered. And then, what are the I mean, you may be covering this, but what are the advantages of the brain other than just the app control? Are there other advantages for the brain? And I know that some of the AVA 2.0 included that, like further deep integration with other control partners as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just having the brain there, I mean, it serves as the programming lives here and not here. So if your customer dropped this in the pool or something like that, you can literally go in, buy a new remote, bring it out to the job site, get on their Wi-Fi. You'll see the project here, you'll pull the project off, and boom, you'll have this back in a matter of minutes as opposed to reprogramming anything. Today, if you drop just the remote in the pool and that's where the programming lives, you have to start over.
Right.
That's a big thing. But again, the IR emitters coming off of here, this is a blaster as well. But having the program live here, this is a solid state device. I actually have mine sitting on a 13-channel DIN and AVR. I'm just right in the middle, just trying to kill it. Right, I can't kill it. I mean, I don't know what would kill it other than water. So that's, but those kind of things are definite huge benefits to have those, have a brain and a job. But just having that app capability alone, you might have a family and they have, a son or a daughter or whatever it is. They don't want to put one of these in the family room or the bedroom or what have. Just put an app on your phone and you've got the same type of control, right? Without having to hand them over a remote of this type.
Yeah, I guess Earl was talking about delays, so I don't know if you want to get into any of that.
It depends. It's one of those questions. We build in some delays by default. And I mean, I've always tried to minimize delays as much as possible because the longer you're waiting, right, the worse it is. But some things like a turn-on processor, I think we have like a minute delay with those because they're a computer essentially. When you turn them on, they take forever to fire up and get up and ready to run. So we put a long delay in there purposely. Most of the delays we build in because of the device that needs the delay. But you can always,
yeah, Dave just mentioned I've experienced delay with Apple TV. The Apple TV was wired in both instances. If I was using a remote, in both instances is this common. So maybe that's an example of one for Apple TV.
I don't have much of a delay in mine. Are we talking about the macro? Or are we talking about in using?
That's a good question. I've experienced delay with Apple TV. I think it's probably with using. But now you may not be using AVA, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, there should be no delay at all. I mean, I have 3 in my house. I have 3 of the newer 4K versions. You definitely should have the hardwired versions, though, not the wireless versions. And same thing with Samsung TVs. If you're using Samsung TVs and wireless, Samsung TVs and wireless control do not blend very well. Across the board, all control systems are not going to be really, really bulletproof with a wireless Samsung TV. I don't know why. And I no knock on Samsung. They make good stuff. Their frames are cool, all that stuff. But they need to be hardwired.
Sorry, we got, it's great. We got a lot of good questions coming in. Doing my first job on Tuesday, we'll be using a cheaper OREI, a multi-viewer with IR for multiple sources. And if codes aren't in database, can this remote learn, or is there an amendable something you would recommend?
Yeah, no, you can't learn them, but if you go out with the workswith.ava.com site, let me see if I can. I might be able to. Can I put that stuff kind of in chat?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'll put that right out right now. Give me 1 second.
There you go. Very good job.
So I just put that out in chat. I don't know if everybody can see that or not, but I put it out there.
Yeah, this is here. I'll get it to them. It's just I'll send it to everybody right now.
Yep. So if you go onto the site that I just put on there, you can search for your devices. We have about 45,000 IR devices out there, but if the device that you have is not in there, there's a request button down in the lower right-hand side. So request it and we'll build it for you within 72 business hours. So Tuesday, kind of tight, but if they can do it on Monday, that'd be great. So, get it out there today if it's not in there. Is it what brand is it? Is it a
He says it's using a cheaper or OREI. Oh, that's
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We do have some OREI stuff in our database, though. We have some HDMI switches that I'm seeing. You can go out and search for that device, though, but if it's not there, definitely go request it, and they'll build it for you. And fast. I mean, like I said, 72 business hours. It's already, half the day's almost gone, but they probably get to it Monday morning and can build it for you. And I can talk to the guys. So ask for it and let Mark know what send over the model number to me, Mark.
Yeah.
And I can kind of lead you from my end too.
Yeah, Jonathan, send me over the model number. We'll get it for you. All right, so we're a little over time here, Robert. Anything we want to end with in closing that we didn't cover?
Yeah, if you haven't picked one of these up, just come in and play with one. Each one of the locations have one for you to play with. They should be configured with a nano brain, so you can come in and see how everything works, see how the apps look, all those types of things. You're talking, an all in with just the remote, you're talking a $1,300 control system. So that's one thing to remember. This isn't a $1,300 remote control. It's a $1,300 control system. When you're saying, okay, well, brand XYZ's remote is $900. Well, that's just a remote. It's not a control system. You have to add a box to make that work. So just keep that in mind. We're comparing this apples to apples to an RTI remote and controller, a URC remote and controller, whatever brands you use. So just remember that. You can literally just put this remote in. I could, again, control my whole house from just this without using this. This adds functionality, but it's not a requirement. So just remember those things when you're looking at, apples to apples and you're kind of playing with the remotes. But go in and pick one up and look at it if you haven't held one in your hands. Completely different experience when you click the buttons on the bottom and when you hold it than when you see it. I can show you this all day long. You can watch videos all day long. Until you put it in your hand, you won't really. So go out and grab one. Go out and grab one the next time you're in picking up some hardware. Just pick one up and play with it.
And if you want to grab two of them, let's just say a black one or a silver one. Good segue. We're running a promotion in the month of December. If you get a black and silver AVA Remote, you will get 2 nano brains and all the PoE accessories that come with it. So we're running a promotion in the month of December. I'm sorry, what is it?
For free.
For free. For free.
Yeah. 2 of these PoE adapters, you get $850 worth of retail for free. So for spending $1,300, that's a very aggressive promo. That's the most aggressive promo we've ever run, as a matter of fact. And they told me to come up with something good for December, and I said, okay, that was a pretty good promo. So yeah, so that's, if you haven't picked one up yet, to Mark's point, it's a great time to jump into the system, buy a couple of remotes, get 2 brains, set one up in your house, and sell one, and make all your money back.
That's on our website. Get with your rep, and they can take care of that for you if you want to take advantage of that promotion. So thank you so much, Robert. Really appreciate it, buddy. We'll have this on our BCC if you want to check back if you missed something. If you have any other questions, like I said, reach out to us, and we'll get them answered for you. But really appreciate your time again, Robert. Like he said, check them out at all of our locations. If you're close to 21st Century branch, they have them set up for you to play with. So go and check it out. And we appreciate your time today.
Well,
thanks, Robert.
Thanks so much.